Tranime Girl. Alright, here we go. I'm gonna be the one to do this. Let's do it.
Wait! Don't click that thumbs down yet! I promise I'm not here to tell you meat eaters need to die or that you're a horrible person for what you eat.
Why do you give a shit about hurting the feelings of people who advocate mass slaughter?
Hear me out. I think quite a few of you will like this one. Before I get started with this video, I need to make the following disclaimer. I am not, by any stretch of the imagination, a healthcare professional nor a nutritionist. I hadn't been feeling well at all for quite some time. I was feeling tired all the time, lethargic, a general sense of unwell, and most upsettingly, my hair thinned. And I realized how bad it got when I got my driver's license renewed and saw the two photos side by side. My nice thick hair had really started to show my scalp, and my part was much whiter. My surgery recovery was also quite a bit slower than anticipated. It was time to take a good look at my vegan diet and see where I had gone wrong.
Okay, so there's two ways you could have gone about this. The first way you could have gone about this is you could have said, okay, I value veganism, I don't want to harm animals in the prospect of living my own life, I want to be healthy, however there's nutrients and vitamins that I'm evidently not getting and it's harming my health. So I should look at what nutrients and vitamins I'm failing to get by paying attention to how much I'm consuming of each on a daily basis, and find out what's causing my symptoms, specifically the vitamins and nutrients I'm deficient in. Then you could find plant sources that actually provide those nutrients for you, and eat that. The alternative, the path that you chose, was to say, well, I am vegan, maybe that's the problem.
I looked up the symptoms of various vitamin deficiencies, and they lined up very alarmingly.
Which vitamin deficiencies?
Now, I didn't see a doctor for the deficiencies. My plan was to adjust my diet, and if that didn't help, I'd go see my physician. A few weeks of adjusting what I eat before bothering a professional wasn't going to kill me. So I started doing some research. I ran into a little problem. No matter how many sites and articles I read, I kept getting conflicting information.
It is not uncommon to see people push scientific studies which are anecdotal, inconclusive, contradictory, or even wholly irrelevant to the argument they are making. And it becomes clear upon further inquiry that many people who try to support their arguments with scientific studies don't in fact understand that certain kinds of studies have wildly different implications on the subject matter, and often could not identify or explain all of what is considered in each study. This is what happens when someone unfamiliar with the field of science attempts to reconcile their worldview with it, citing, in all probability, a scientist they do not know to deliver a decisive word on a given topic, even when there appear to be other scientists with related studies presenting conflicting information. This is what is called an appeal to authority. It's the same thing with the whole fake news thing. When you're taking secondhand information from other sources, you can't just say, well, you know, the more right-wing media organizations say this, and the more left-wing media organizations say something completely different. Therefore, there's no answer. No, clearly there's an answer. You just got to be able to pick and choose what seems the most consistent, what lines up with reality most accurately. Now, actually, I don't think you did a very good job of researching this, because if you just Googled, like, veganism health effects, invariably you're going to get people who are talking about, oh my gosh, I became vegan and it was the best thing I ever did in my life, yada 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 bullshit. But then at the same time, you listen to somebody else talking about how veganism is the worst thing in the world and it's just stupid and it makes people unhealthy and blah blah blah. Yeah, you're going to hear crap on both sides. Because unfortunately there are people who are invested in both directions. So you're going to get bias when you actually look for this stuff. What you want to look for is what appears to be the most consistent information.
Some said I can get everything I need from plants.
Yes, and that is bullshit. That is a flat-out lie. Because the problem is that there's a single vitamin that you cannot actually get from plants, and that is vitamin B12. Now, the reason why you can't get vitamin B12 from plants is because vitamin B12 arrives in the form mainly from bacteria in the soil called Actinomyces. It comes from dead organisms and shit that accumulates underground, right? It gets into the soil, it grows into the plants, and it does actually end up in your fruits and your vegetables. However, we as a society have so heavily processed our food industry that we sanitize that shit out of it. Putting an apple through a hot wash for 15 minutes will destroy all of that good bacteria. And the reason for it is because you don't want to get sick eating the apple, because it could also have bad bacteria on it. We don't want to ingest that shit. So yeah, we heavily process our food, and in the process, we scour vitamin B12 out of our food. Now, is that necessarily your problem? No, that's not necessarily the case. But it's highly likely, whatever the case was, it's probably because you didn't balance your diet properly. Now, does it mean you can't do that within a vegan context? No.
I could get vitamin D from mushrooms or by going out in the sun, protein from soy, and that calcium can be found in kale and broccoli. Others said D2 is not a substitute for D3, there was no vegetable source of K2, and that my cast iron pans were not going to make up the difference in iron.
How do you even know you needed this stuff? Like, you don't specify in this video what vitamins you needed. What vitamins did you need? What were you lacking in? Are you sure you're not just correlating symptoms to vitamin deficiencies? Because believe it or not, your symptoms can correlate to a bunch of different unrelated vitamin deficiencies. Like, how many vitamin deficiencies, for example, do you think result in you feeling tired? More than a couple. If you're not getting the proper nutrients, you're not going to get what's needed to make your body run properly. And when your body doesn't run properly, you feel run down. Actually, look at the food you're getting. Check online. How much vitamins does that actually... Like, go on Chronometer. Find how many vitamins or nutrients or minerals or what have you come in that food you're eating. Check all of the food you're eating on a regular basis. Tally that up and check what daily requirements am I failing to meet. That's it. That's all you need to do. You find out what you're missing. It's like, oh, the solution this entire time was buying more oatmeal. It could have just been that simple.
Everything I read, it all added up to a complete wash. There was as much for veganism as there was against it. It's not even worth citing them, it all adds up to nothing. I had to find out if my diet was why I wasn't healthy.
Excuse me, I'm eating red beans and rice right now. It just occurred to me while I was doing editing. Sorry, my voice goes out as the video goes on. I get really loud. Volume warning, by the way. It just occurred to me while I was editing the video that, have you not considered the fact that you've been homeless for an extended period of time prior to making this video?
So, tonight is the second night in the van. The eviction went through, the official eviction day was today, this morning.
I mean, when you can barely afford to live somewhere, I don't really expect you to be able to make quality food. Like, if you live off, like, Dollar Tree type shit, you're not gonna get quality food. That's the most heavily processed, watered-down garbage you could possibly eat off of. You can get some decent food off there, but the only reason why you even have food in budget stores like Dollar Tree and stuff is because it's secondhand from other stores. And the only stuff that survives secondhand is the stuff that's so heavily processed that it can actually survive in a box or a carton or in a can. I mean, I can speak from my own experience. If I go like a couple weeks, just because I don't have all that much money, and I just go down to the store where they sell everything for like $1, and I buy the food there, I'm gonna feel like crap by the end of the week because I'm not getting fresh fruit, I'm not getting fresh vegetables. And seriously, I like Chex Mix as much as the next person, but you form your diet around that, you're gonna feel like crap.
I decided to take a hiatus from my vegan diet and see what happens. Now, I became a vegan because I don't want to hurt the animals. This was something very important to me, and I was vegan for over a decade.
Have you had your photo ID for over a decade? Look at your previous IDs. What's the change? over the span of those IDs? Are you progressively losing your hair, or are you fine up until recently? You say you started feeling better after you started eating meat. I haven't eaten meat since I was in daycare. I have not eaten meat for over 20 years.
In my religion, don't worry, I'm not going to go in depth about my religion. I follow harm none, and that's what I was trying to do as a vegan. However, that includes not harming myself as well.
And now you're leaving veganism because your hair is thinning.
I hadn't been feeling well. I was tired, I had trouble remembering things, and what really got me to re-examine my diet was my thinning hair. I was tired, I had trouble remembering things, and what really got me to re-examine my diet was my thinning hair. And what really got me to re-examine my diet was my thinning hair, was my thinning hair, was my thinning hair, was my thinning hair.
I guess harm none was not that important to you in the end anyway.
When I started eating meat again, the first few days aggravated my stomach. I expected that as my body readjusted. After that, however, I noticed I wasn't as tired. As the weeks went on, my health issues settled down, aches and pains calmed down a bit, and of course, my hair has been getting thicker.
Those are such generic symptoms of tiredness. You could get those same symptoms from stress.
It isn't quite as thick as it once was, but it's getting there. I have to wait for thicker, stronger strands to replace a whole head full of weak hair.
If you were eating total crap, like, look, this is the whole thing. You can see articles of this shit online, where it's like, oh, this family fed their kid a vegan diet, and it died. Oh, really? That's really shitty. That's really shitty. What were they feeding him? That question doesn't come up! They just assume, oh, well, he was eating a vegan diet. That must mean he wasn't getting enough nutrients. But this never specified what exactly the kid is eating. Technically, eating nothing but ketchup is vegan. That doesn't mean you're gonna get all the vitamin nutrients you need.
I'm telling you all this as someone who really wanted veganism to be the answer. I was honestly hoping this change in diet wouldn't help, but it did.
Don't go vegan. Really? Based on this? Based on this. You're sending out the message, don't go vegan, because I felt bad once. Over the course of, how? Did you say you were vegan for 10 years?
Even through the bias I had on veganism, I can't deny the negative effects my vegan diet had on me.
It's not your vegan diet had on you, it was your diet! Your vegan diet can be a good or bad diet. Like I said, eating only ketchup is vegan. That's still a bad diet. It's because it's just ketchup. Oh my god.
Vegans will insist you can just take supplements, but I can't stand behind a diet that requires healthy people to take pills.
You don't have to take supplements. I've never taken a vitamin supplement in my life except for vitamin C to combat a cold on occasion. That is it. That is literally it. I have never taken a B12 supplement in my life because you know why? Because you can actually find that in cereal. You can find that in soy milk.
It's a noble point of view to believe an animal's well-being needs to be considered. However, veganism just isn't the answer for that. Instead, we should strive for better ways to farm meat.
Instead, we should strive for better ways to farm meat. Tranime Girl, kindly go fuck yourself. I felt tired. My hair was getting thin. But you know what? Instead of actually thinking about what nutrients I'm not getting and no understanding, like, am I getting enough zinc? Am I getting enough iron? What sources I can actually get that shit from? You know what? All that slaughter thing? Nah. That's not as important as the effort it takes to actually think this out.
Humans need both plants and meat.
No, they don't. They do not. No part of the human diet requires meat. No part. Not a single fucking thing can you get from animals you can't get from non-animal sources. If this is the case, name the vitamin, nutrient, or mineral that you can only get from meat. Name it. Name a single fucking one!
There is just no denying that, no matter how much I might not like it. I'm going to be looking into which brands are more humane.
Oh my god! Fuck! You could look at what brands of vegan food are more healthy! Literally, what's stopping you from doing that?
As with most things, there needs to be a balance.
Everything in moderation.
Oh my god, fuck off with that. I'm a centrist. Don't even give me that shit. I'm sick of hearing that.
I decided to bring in Madwoman for this video. She knows a bit more about nutrition than I do.
There are many arguments out there for and against veganism, and you've heard Tranime's testimony as to why she is no longer one, and this is Maddie the Herb Chick to explain from a natural health standpoint why veganism is not healthy when the diet is implemented faithfully.
When the diet is implemented faithfully. Alright, go ahead. Bring it on. Hit me. I've been implementing it faithfully. Why am I healthy?
Supplements that are often recommended to vegans are B-complex or B12,
I'm gonna lose my voice over this shit. Fuck.
vitamin D, protein, iron, creatine, calcium, and zinc.
I would just like to say right off the bat, vitamin B12 is the good one to lead with because it's the only one you have any basis for arguments on, and yet it's also totally obtainable from vegan sources.
This is due to the fact these vitamins and minerals can only be found in the proper quantities needed for the body to be healthy in meats and meat sources.
Citation.
I am not saying you can't find these in fruits, vegetables, grains, or nuts. You just can't get enough of them from plant sources to meet the recommended daily allowances.
Citation.
And most supplements on the market just pass through the system, meaning you're not getting the full amount of the vitamin or mineral in that supplement.
Honestly, supplements are like a cheat code for your fucking diet. People take this stupid fucking attitude towards supplements like, oh, you're not eating a healthy diet if you eat supplements. The supplements are part of your fucking diet! Yeah, you're not, quote, calling them food, but you're still getting the nutrients and minerals. What the fuck does it matter if it comes out of a fucking plastic bottle or not? Get the fuck over it!
Let's break down what happens when you're deficient in any of these, shall we?
That is a complete fucking waste of time because it's wholly irrelevant to the topic. You're going to list the symptoms from not having these vitamins and nutrients, but you're not going to list the vegan sources you can get them in.
Since B12 is the major vitamin that cannot be found in any plant, I will tackle that one first. This crucial B vitamin is instrumental in helping with synthesizing DNA.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up!
When you become deficient,
shut the fuck up!
Anemia, where your body does not make enough red blood cells. It's also important for memory retention and helps to prevent mania.
You list all of these things which have this bacteria in it. You know what's kind of funny to think about is the reason why we don't get B12 in our other foods is specifically because we sanitize it. Why do you think there's still bacteria on that fucking food?
This is why there is research being done currently to see if there's a correlation between low B12 levels and Alzheimer's disease. But that's another video entirely.
Yes, it's irrelevant! Thank you!
Let's move on to the next one. And the last few on the list. Some of you may have noticed that the charts have vegetables as well as meat, poultry, and fish sources for some of the last minerals on the list.
My god, I can't even fucking... going fucking hoarse because of this stupid fucking video.
Though vegetables can contain many of the same vitamins and minerals that meat, poultry, and fish do, that doesn't mean there is as much of those nutrients in produce and nuts to get the recommended minimums your body requires to stay healthy.
This doesn't mean that this is the case. I'm just going to imply that it's not.
Our bodies are built to eat both animals and plants.
Look at the chart! We don't resemble carnivores in the fucking slightest. We don't even resemble omnivores. And no, we don't resemble herbivores either. We're apes! We resemble frugivores. At best, they ate bugs! You don't substantiate your claim. I've just given you a counterclaim with substantiating evidence. Refuted. Boom. Done.
Therefore, neglecting to eat a balanced diet our bodies require can lead to complications down the road. If you want to eat meat, but still want to be careful of how the animals are treated, do research on how the animals are processed, and shop for those brands and those brands only.
Fuck you! Literally fuck everybody who thinks, oh, we need to find humane sources of animals. We want to kill them nicely. We have to kill them nicely. You know, here's kind of a funny thought. Think about this. You know what you can find online? B12 supplements for cattle. Where do they get that? Do you think they grind up other cows to feed to other cows so they can get that B12? Are you out of your fucking mind? I can't talk. I can't talk.
Thank you, Madwoman. And thank all of you for watching.
Garbage video.